Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 31st episode of the Gentleman's Gank podcast.
I'm Pierre.
I'm
I'm not.
I'm Dominic. I jumped ahead.
And I am wondering why we even tried this.
What is happening tonight?
Fair.
We were fine on the
Somehow
first two episodes.
Episodes.
His name is now Richard, everyone, just so you know.
Alright. And first topic, I guess, is Rock Band, because everyone loves Rock Band, right?
Everyone loves playing a game that everyone can't play.
Dude, I was so good at that game.
Was
Which, I mean-
past tense.
Yeah. And actually, I don't think I've ever played Rock Band. I played Guitar Hero.
Well,
But Rock Band?
So there was Guitar Hero, and then there was Rock Band, which actually did better than Guitar Hero, but everyone still calls it Guitar Hero.
pretty much.
Yeah, well, and the thing I thought was weird was the whole other instruments bit.
How so?
Why? Alright, so having a guitar was simple, and it sort of made sense.
Sorta, yeah.
And then
Drums.
then we added, like, drums, which was like, hey, you know how we have this thing that we can, just set in the side of the room, let's make something that takes up the entire room.
Alright, so here's why drums made sense. Because if you ever had that one friend who liked to hit things, you needed your friend to play that so that your guitar didn't get destroyed.
See, the thing is, when I
I
had
am
that,
that
friend
friend.
that wanted to hit things, I didn't ever have a friend like that, because I had standards.
Wow.
So he didn't have friends.
I know, me.
Secondly,
Yeah, I also didn't have friends.
alright, so the drums were there for that, and they were actually decently fun to play. The singing was weird, and the bass was a great way to say that you were playing with your friends, and you'd only have to hit, like, a button every, 3 seconds. Because, bass guitar. You spend the entire time going...
I can't deny this.
Yeah.
I wonder if
But-
anyone would have noticed if they actually gave the bass player Pachelbel's cannon. If they would have noticed any difference in the normal recording.
Halfway through, you just start playing, like, Scotland the Brave, and you're just like, wait!
Wait a minute.
John Williams is the man.
My question is, did any of y'all have Rock Band?
No.
No.
Never owned a
Fortunately,
console.
I didn't get into
Exactly.
the Xbox game and into the Xbox pretty much until after Rock Band was already come and gone.
See, I didn't have it either, but I did talk to about 24 people that did have it, and they were all not a fan of the whole thing,
Really?
because the drums took up too much space, there were too many extra things that, with Guitar Hero, you had a guitar, and if you wanted to play with another person, you could attach another guitar. And if you didn't like your guitar, you could just use a different guitar, like the other one. Which is different in Rock Band when, if you want to play a different instrument, you have to go get some giant other thing. And what happens when you have two people who want to play guitar, or multiple people who want to play drums and stuff? It was just...
You're telling me you've never played guitar on the drums before?
Color me
No.
impressed when you pulled that off.
I mean, if it would actually connect to that slot and not be registered as that, I know several drummers who could pull it off, playing the guitar part on the drums.
Someone did a NG Plus run of Dark Souls with a Rock Band controller. I'm pretty sure they can make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. I forgot about that.
There's always that one person out there.
Yeah. So. But, anyways, most of the people who like actually owned Rock Band were not a fan of the whole, hey, I now have to take care of my entire Rock Band instead of a fairly easy to conceal and put away guitar. Because, I mean, sure, it's a pretty big thing, but it's also flat.
Yeah. I know, everyone I knew who had Rock Band didn't really have a problem with that.
Neither. I've never heard any complaints about it either.
Yeah,
I think
same.
you're just crazy.
Well, we know he's crazy. We're just not sure about it on this particular
Or
instance.
Jonathan just knows friends with small rooms.
No, I mean, these are people who were, like, rich and, like, had big houses and stuff. Which is why I had them as friends, because, you know, I was hoping that they would give me stuff.
I mean, I
but
can
it
understand
never
the
happened.
problem of, like, if they just left the equipment out and never bothered to deconstruct the equipment.
Yeah, but do you know how long it takes to deconstruct and reconstruct the, like, drum set and stuff?
Less than 2 minutes?
That's 2 whole minutes!
More than 2 minutes. And also, like Dominic said,
And this is why I'm an
When you-
engineer.
when people are like, when two kids, not adults, when two kids are like, hey, I want to play a game, and the other one's like, oh sure, let me build my game for you.
You do realize there's an entire board game about that that's existed longer than any of us has been alive.
Mousetrap?
Yes.
Yes, Mousetrap.
Mousetrap is the most convoluted game I've ever heard of.
No,
Just because
no,
of
no,
that.
no. I can think of so many more convoluted.
Yes, but it's
Yeah.
completely unnecessary parts.
Now I can think of more with more unnecessary parts.
Alright, tell us one, just because I'm curious.
I don't remember the exact name, but it was a Goosebumps board game.
Okay, well that...
Was it
that-
called Goosebumps?
It probably had Goosebumps somewhere in the name, yeah.
Was it called Goosebumps the game?
I don't know.
Alright. While Dominic looks that up by using his extremely noisy keyboard.
I don't know what you're talking about. Was it Escape from Horrorland?
I don't know. I haven't seen that game in more than a decade.
But anyway.
I think it was Terror in the
With
Graveyard.
the Rock Band game, I'd be actually kind of
Might have been
excited
that one.
just because a lot of gamers around that time are now moving out and getting their own places and having a drunk party where half of your friends are too drunk to think for themselves are playing Rock Band. That sounds like a good idea to me. And that's how they would pitch it. That's exactly how they would pitch it.
You and I have different ideas of what a good idea is.
Being one to watch that happen, I think that's a great idea.
It's a great idea until you have to clean up the next morning.
True.
Like all good ideas.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on. Let's see. What is the next thing?
Well, there's
Vive, I
the...
Oh
think.
yeah, Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
as an afterthought.
So hey guys,
probably
here's this
should've
really cool
started with
thing. It's
that.
going to revolutionize gaming. Oh, and by the way, Half-Life 3.
No, Steam never said Half-Life 3. But
They didn't have to.
They didn't have to.
Steam is well aware that anything they say will be construed as Half-Life 3.
With the
They go out of their way to say things that cannot be construed as Half-Life 3. And then they did this.
pretty much when Valve came out and said that they were doing a team up with HTC for their Revive. I don't know what exactly it's called. It doesn't make sense to me.
I think it's Vive.
No, it's Vive, because I've seen where it's RE space VIVE, as in Revive. It doesn't make sense to me. I mean, it could be Vive as far as I'm aware.
I've seen it as the HTC Vive. As in live.
I've heard
know.
Revive, so yeah.
Yeah, well maybe it's Revive.
And until
Huh?
HTC
Yeah, what about
tells
that?
us what-
Revive.
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 Maybe it's pronounced VIVE.
Revive. That's what I'm calling it, derivative. But yes, it's come into it pretty much. People are thinking Steam is holding their best hand and waiting for developers to really get into this technology before they drop the bomb with Half-Life 3. That way, developers will see it, want it, and develop for it, and create a market for it. Because no one wants something owned by Facebook.
That's true.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, as I'm
No,
sure
they really
someone else
don't.
has said by now. Actually, I know someone else has said by now. I'm quoting them. Cut this part out.
Go on, Tim.
Half-Life 3 was not postponed or put on the back burner or anything like that. It was waiting for this moment.
Pretty much.
Also, I believe that's true, because when they were creating it, they were basically saying, we know we will at some point have what we need to, like, do this,
It's
but
just
we
not
don't have
now.
it now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until just recently that high definition became a very big thing that just exploded. For the longest time, we had standard definition and was okay with that. And then HD came out, and then about 2 years later, 2 or 3 years later, you had 4K come out, and now there's possibility of 8K, which is, I think, completely waste of time because 4K looks just fine.
They're still trying to make things that can handle 4K.
Oh yeah, like 6-core processors still have trouble processing the refresh rate for those kind of TVs. I've seen what happens when it can't. Try watching Big Hero 6 on a 4K TV. You will find that the high frame rate, high motion frames are having issues, and you'll see blotches of previous frames pop in. It's an experience.
It sounds like it.
I would turn down the refresh rate
For what?
if you were to do that.
Go on.
But
I think that's the point where you go to your TV manufacturer and say, okay, here's how this works. You do not use a CPU for graphics processing.
You use a GPU.
Yes. Which is actually very different.
Yep. I think it would be obvious when you consider it has it in the name graphics processing unit.
Let me tell you something about the word obvious. It's not.
Even from a schematic point of view, you can't really confuse them. One's serial, one's parallel.
Yeah. Moving on. Hey, resident Nintendo expert, talk about amiibos more, because you always do. I mean, I don't think we have had a single week that you haven't talked about amiibos.
Yeah.
At some point.
well, you want me to talk
think he's
about
right.
Raru and their accidental leak of possibly Splatoon amiibos and
I don't know what you're saying.
Right? Every time he opens his mouth about Nintendo, it's like he's just speaking fanboy.
I am hearing syllables strung together. They mean nothing to me.
So
I
I'm
mean,
just
I
pulling
play
up here
Nintendo
right
games
now.
too, but I have no clue what you're saying.
Okay, Raru is a online shop for South Africa. Raru accidentally leaked information about. You guys know about Splatoon, right?
I know of Splatoon.
What?
It's the it's the painter. It's conquer the field, third-person shooter, where pretty much you stain the world and that gains you points. Sometimes blowing up your opponents
Okay.
helps stain the world too.
Yes,
Cool.
people generally do tend to make good explosion pattern paint.
Well, this is kid form.
Aw.
The recent pop-up on Raru's website points to the likelihood of sometime in May we will see the next wave of amiibos, including Splatoon characters, as well as Greninja and one other. I don't remember the last one. But that's not really the subject you were expecting me to talk about. The real one is about that Nintendo is announcing... I know, Nintendo is publicly hosting a Amiibo-only Smash tournament. Which means,
Meaning,
We talked about this a little bit a while back.
yeah, where Amiibos were making their way into tournaments, but I think after the recent success of one and the controversy of whether a Amiibo would be rigged in combat, raised questions.
Yeah.
So they're making an entire tournament officially hosted by Nintendo for Amiibos, and it honestly sounds pretty interesting to me. Because pretty much players have actually been capable of training and teaching these Amiibos moves that most you couldn't get a CPU to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would be interesting to see.
Pretty much player-taught CPU combat.
that is interesting. Don't.
But yeah, I like to watch.
Sorry?
It's 2 a.m. Shut up.
What? No, we record these during the day in our professional studio.
Yes, of course we do.
Yeah, that's exactly
This
why
is
we all sound very
Definitely
different in
not
our
over the
recordings.
internet.
Alright, one other thing. The major console developers, meaning PS3 or PlayStation and Xbox,
And Nintendo.
have they joined as well?
I think Nintendo.
Last I checked, they
I think
haven't.
Nintendo said a couple things. I believe Sony spoke with both, but most conversation is going on between Sony and Microsoft.
Because they're pretty much the only ones really affected.
Pretty much.
Guys, you started a sentence and
Um,
didn't actually finish what you were saying.
I know. I was about to comment on that.
I felt like interrupting.
PlayStation and Xbox have combined forces to deal with DDoS attacks.
Or more of
Not
the
sure how
more
that's gonna
serious
fare.
DDoS attacks.
Yeah.
Uh,
According to them, they deal with DDoS just pretty much constantly.
on a daily basis. It's just the bad days are the ones most people hear about, like this past Christmas.
So, whatever. Sucks.
I mean,
That's why
If-
you play PC.
if you could see success in stopping DDoS attacks, it would have been done a long time ago. It's not like it's people are finding a loophole in a system and breaking down firewalls or something that sounds like it's coming out of a movie. It's more of just brute forcing a server into giving up.
Oh my.
We do
Alright,
not
I think
condone
that's it for
rape
this.
within this podcast, Jonathan. We do not condone rape within this podcast.
Or out of the podcast, just to
Yeah,
mention.
Thank
That's
you,
a good
Dominic.
clarification.
I don't know about Pierre. Maybe he's different, but
Hey, France is a very different place. And on that note,
Wow.
Pepe Le Pew, all I'm saying.
Pierre, you get your baguette away from us. So,
I think this
Alright,
is.
and-
I think that's probably
So
the
France
worst way
hates
to
us now.
end this podcast. This has been Pierre.
this has been Jonathan.
this has been Dominic, I guess.
This has been Tim. It won't be anymore.
And this is it for us on the
Alright, see you
podcast
guys.
tonight. Have a wonderful night.
See you.
Bye.
Bye or whatever.